Hi, folks. David here from stgeorgenews.ca. I wanted to share a topic with you today that will have a significant impact on our local communities and eventually our long-term way of life. I have a guest with me, Romey Heuff. Romey's from the local area. Welcome, Romey.
Thanks, David.
Now, we'll be talking today about the new local government reforms that's taken place across our province, particularly right here in our local region of St. George and surrounding area. So for those of you who are not aware of what is happening here in this region, the government is moving forward at a very rapid pace to amalgamate numerous communities into one region. What was once incorporated municipalities and royal communities will no longer be. The communities of St. George and Back Bay and Bonnie River, Utopia, Penfield, Sealy's Cove, Beaver Harbor, and Blacks Harbor will soon be incorporated into a new identity and be known as Entity 53. And we're not here to discuss if this is a good thing or a bad thing. We are here because this stuff is happening behind closed doors without little to no transparency to our communities. A handful of people and a government-appointed facilitator are in charge of choosing a new method of governance. They're in charge of creating new taxation methods, deciding new community boundary lines, selecting a new community name, and appointing new administration staff. They'll also look after operating budgets, and this will all be in place over the next few months. So, Romey, let me ask you, do you feel the public has had adequate time and opportunity to present their concerns or have input into these reforms?
I would say that probably most people still don't even know what's happening. And a lot of people, even if they know it's happening, are not able to fathom out what the implications of these changes mean to them. So even though they may have heard the words local governance reform, they don't really know how that's going to impact them. And that's the problem.
We've had a lot of distractions over the last couple of years. Probably is quite timely to the government.
Well, their own choice of words is aggressive timeline. This has to get done, bang, 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 bang. They've got some mandates to fulfill themselves, obviously.
Why the rush on these municipal reforms?
The government can't afford to take care of everybody the way everybody wants to be taken care of. So it's like rush to make each municipal entity self-governing and responsible for how they spend their money and what they do with themselves. And this is basically what this local governance reform is doing. It's sort of passing the buck from the provincial administrative level to a municipal administrative level. And now amongst all our communities, we're going to have to figure out how to cooperate and do our best with the resources that we have, plus with the mandates that are imposed upon us. And there will be mandates imposed upon us.
Mm-hmm. Like, let's take an example of the town of St. George. I mean, I think we now have 7 councillors and a mayor. Blacks Harbor has, half a dozen councillors and a mayor. They are in charge of what is happening in their own town. They've been that way forever. But now under this new administration, I understand they will only have one representative, along with each area will have one representative. Is that correct?
That there will be one representative from each of the towns. So Blacks Harbor and St. George will get one. And then each of the LSDs will have one. So there's like 5 LSDs, I think. And then there will be 2 at-large roaming people, so that everybody will get to vote on these 2. So only each LSD votes on their representative. Everybody from St. George votes for their guy. And then everybody collectively will vote for 2 more.
Who chooses that particular model?
The government gave 3 different models as choices, so they could only choose between A, B, and C. So the transition team, which would consist of 2 representatives from each of the municipal towns and each of the LSDs, are on that transition team that are working right now. And so they're the ones who decided that would be the best option for us.
Okay, so that's that handful of people that are making decisions on our destiny.
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen in the long term? Will the government get more power over our destiny?
Well, I think that what the government is doing really is transitioning over the responsibilities of tourism and development, road maintenance, these kinds of things to the municipalities and the municipal entities themselves. Up until now, the government has always taken care of roads and tourism. Now, these entities, and we're entity 53 around the St. George, Blacks Harbor area, we're going to have a certain pot of money and we're going to have lots more roads to think about. So now it's going to be like, okay, we've only got so much money. Do we plow your road or your road? Or do we plow it every time it snows or only when there's more than 15 or 20 centimeters? Those will be the kinds of decisions that'll have to start getting made once the roads are in the hands of the municipal entities, right?
For the St. George residents and the area around St. George, are all those little communities of Area 53 or Entity 53, if they want to find out what is happening, what do they do right now?
Well, I'm not really sure what you guys can do in your town, except maybe harass your mayor or ask for that kind of help. But I'm also very surprised that Andrea Mason, our MLA, hasn't been providing more information up front and been more proactive in saying, look, here's what's going on. This is why it's going on. No one has really done much in the why except for what came out in the green paper saying it's going to save us money. You'll have more direction. You'll have more democratic voice. Well, that may be true. So that's why we're not really debating, is this a good thing or a bad thing? But certainly the implications for people and residents in New Brunswick, the implications have not been forthrightly given so that people don't know how to digest this information. There's a lot of information being handed out. We're going to do this, this, and this. This is going to happen. It's an aggressive timeline. Here you go. This is it. No ability to talk to anybody or ask, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for my community? So I think we're seeing the fact that this is being done and they don't want people to know because they don't want opposition. They don't want resistance. They have an aggressive timeline, and this aggressive timeline means it has to get pushed through now. So better not to involve the public. Otherwise, it'll be messy.
Is it possible that all of our little communities will eventually lose our identities?
Well, I think that for the old people or the people who are born and raised here in the last, say, 50 years, it'll always be, I'm going to Penfield, I'm heading out to Blacks Harbor, I'm going to St. George for milk and whatever. But the maps are going to change. And the young people are going to grow up being taught that, oh, I live in the greater Penfield, Macadavic area, or whatever we're going to be called, because we don't know what we're going to be called yet, right?
There's a lot of bright people in our communities.
Oh, very educated people and very bright, yeah.
Their contribution and their input on this could be very helpful, but we're not given an opportunity to participate. So how would you propose that we could have that opportunity?
So it might be time for people to form their own networking and their own source of information and their own, to take control of their community, basically, right? So I've proposed that we have our own website where all the different kinds of concerns or issues could be all located in one area so that anybody could go and look and see, well, what's really going on in my community right now? Who's who? Who's doing what? What decisions are in the process of being made? What laws are being passed?
Do you think we could convince the government to say, listen, why don't you put a 30-day hold on this? Give people in our local communities an opportunity to participate and have input from this point forward?
Well, I don't think it's going to work because I told you that the Funday Bay LSD put a proposal together for a rural community. They wanted Back Bay to become a rural community, and they sent it to Minister Alain, and there was zero response, nothing.
They're not listening.
They don't want to listen.
Well, it's a topic that we should be keeping up on. It's going to affect our lives. It's going to affect our families' lives. And I just worry that sometime in the future, my little granddaughter won't be able to get down and set up her lemonade sign at the end of her driveway because they're going to want a permit or she won't be allowed to do that.
Yes, my mom says in Europe, it's already like that. This is a great opportunity for all of us to actually come together start getting to know each other, start making more effort to communicate, to get involved in the community in the direction that our community is going. It's called social engineering, and it's being done by people at the top. So if you want to take control of your community, that means you have to get involved and you have to start doing your own social engineering. And that means coming together and start talking. That's how it starts.
I mean, unity.
Yep.
Okay, well, listen, great talking to you today on this topic.
Oh, you're welcome, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, folks. You got any questions, you get a hold of us. You take care.